There you go.
Okay. Okay, all right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for our May Millbrook Valley Trails Advisory Committee meeting. Call the meeting to order. Before we get started, as always, we'll do our land acknowledgement. So we respectfully acknowledge that Township of Cabin-Monaghan is located on the Treaty 28 Mishi-Sagi territory and the traditional territory of the Mishi-Sagi Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care, for their teachings, and for that about these teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Thank you to Cindy and Carly for getting the agenda out. Does anybody have any questions, concerns? There's Mr. Nielsen. Questions, concerns about the agenda tonight?
For you, Cheryl, just to remind you that because we have Meredith participating virtually, we do need recorded votes. So I can call them when you're ready.
Yes. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda then? That stands. John, seconded by Griffin. All in favor? Order. Thank you.
I'll list my last names, Jackson.
Here.
We have to, so because they're recorded votes, so every
So I
vote.
just say yay.
Yay, okay, yeah. McDonald.
Yeah.
Wallace.
Yes.
Billsley.
Yay.
Brown.
Yeah.
Natchoff.
Yes.
Carter.
Meredith, are you muted?
I think I'm unmuted now. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So because you're participating virtually, Meredith, these are recorded votes, so we just need you to confirm, and this is for the approval of the agenda.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Perfect. Next item. I'm not.
Sorry, I'm just asking if this is new. We've not done
No,
this
so
before.
all virtual participation, if any members participate virtually, all votes need to be recorded.
Oh, okay, because we've not done this before.
Okay, we'll just continue moving forward.
Okay, minutes. Thank you for the distribution and typing up of the minutes for our meeting held April 22nd, 2024. Does anybody have any questions, additions, edits? Vote said meeting minutes.
Sorry, Chair, we just need to confirm there's no pecuniary interest first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You've never done that before. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Do I need to?
Just ask any members who have any pecuniary interest, and if they do, they have to declare them, and if not, then the answer would be none.
Okay, does anybody have any pecuniary interest? No, you don't need to report that.
No, if there is, then we just have to identify what the item is, but there's not, so that's fine, and there are no closed session items, so next is your minutes.
Okay, wonderful. So the minutes of our meeting held April 22nd, 2024. Does anybody have any questions, edits, additions to those meeting minutes? Okay, can I have a motion to approve?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Griffin, and
Second.
seconded by John, all in favor. And just make it easy and go through. So Jackson, yay.
No.
Or we
we have
do
to- Yeah.
Okay, so all in
There is
favor?
nothing.
Okay, motion passed.
Perfect. McDonald. Yeah. Wallace.
Yes.
Billsley.
Yep.
Brown.
Yes.
Natchoff.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Jackson.
Okay, excellent. Moving on to section 7, reports, financial report, Chris.
Under contracted services, the approved budget is $1,700, the budget remaining is $1,700. Under materials and supplies, budget approved $4,800. Budget remaining is $3,378.95, and this is up to date for all invoices we've received so far.
Okay, and I have some repeat the receipts to submit to, just related to apologies and okay, any questions, requests around financial report? No, okay, moving on to section 7.2, work update, Meredith.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. I don't have anything to report, but can confirm that all the permits that are required have been issued. And Chris, if you have any different information, please correct me. But I did check in with Dawn this morning, and I know that Jesse and Chris were talking through the details of the trailhead signage and the tree replacement. So I think that's well in hand. But I'd be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Okay, yeah, I think we're going to
That's all.
talk about those sections later on, no, those later on. Sorry, is that gonna be under work plan?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, any questions for Meredith? No? Okay, thank you very much, Meredith, for that update.
Great, thank you.
So, both Gary and Dave were responsible for the trail reports this month, so neither of them are here, so I assume most of you have probably seen the emails, but I'll go ahead and read them anyway. So Gary, here's my part of the trail report. The wind on Wednesday did a bit of tree damage here and there, no pictures attached as I was not working fast, etc. But meds, just below the lookout is a tree leaning low above the trail. Then when the trail splits and descends down in the direction of the floating bridge, immediately a tree is lying across the first boardwalk. The boardwalk itself is fine. Just a reminder that trail is officially closed, so we don't necessarily fit on it, but I don't know if you're tuning this.
So this tree is where it splits out towards the boardwalk?
Towards the bridge, yeah.
Bless you.
Baxter Creek, no sign of active beaver dams. Where there are the usual big puddles, it is now thicker mud with uneven terrain. Really looking forward to getting this trail backed up. Either side of the floating bridge, especially in the section of the fairgrounds, it would benefit from more foot traffic to keep the trail less overgrown. We'll be talking about that. Hopefully, the next section's coming up. Gary, do not check the section leading into the fairgrounds. Baxter approaching Zion, those wet sections are also now a thick mud before getting to the fresh mulch that we laid on work day. The boardwalk immediately south of Zion is in great shape. One missing piece of wood is all I noticed, and I have that piece of wood cut, and I'll hopefully try to make it up this week to put that in place. On Grand Trunk, the section where we were going to reroute on work day is not a puddle anymore, but very muddy. It's fine otherwise. Cedar Trail, just below the Rich Revival connection is a tree leaning low against the trail. At one section, there were two trees suspended above the trail and the branches above, but that's been that for a while. Rail bed, I did the section from the top of the Grand Trunk east to Roots Revival, just past Cedar Trail, where there are a couple of trees moving above the trail. Again, these are pretty much real issues at this point. Overall, the trails are looking great. New and old signs looking good. Look forward to catching everybody in the meeting. And then David section is, I can add to Gary's trail report by saying that Meadow Trail, Ganny Transit, and the MTB trails are all well maintained, and all fallen trees and hazard branches have been cleared. I recently reattached some loose boards on the boardwalk after the West Bridge on Ganny Transit. Decorative arch over that bridge has come off again, I believe, from vandalism. Someone from the club has volunteered to reattach it for us. And no motorized vehicle sign was removed from the tree after the West Bridge on Ganny Transit. It was at a location where a new connection to the Ganneras Forest was created a few years ago, but that connection has been closed since 2022 and is unlikely to open again in the immediate term. I did not have a chance to walk Station Trail. Have you?
I just did, yeah.
Okay.
So it's in really good shape. It's got the usual length of mud between the frost fence and the derelict car. But you know, that's what spring does. The only thing of note that I can't do myself is that the ramp on the first bridge on the west side, on the north side of the bridge, has a loose board where it attaches to the bridge itself. So it needs good solid nails with heads that actually lie flat, which I can't do myself.
Okay.
If I do it, they will not lie flat.
So the first bridge from.
The first bridge from the
entrance?
parking lot.
Yeah, okay, great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll get it.
I'll show you, I've got a picture of it here, so.
Okay, and I assume nobody here moved that no motorized sign?
Mhm.
I don't know. So the no motorized vehicle sign was removed from a tree after the last bridge on Gannett Transit. It was at a location where a new connection to the Gannett Forest was created a few years ago. Have you seen it? Like, I'm taking by that it's been reattached to another tree, which is quite an endeavor for somebody to, I don't know why they would do that.
Mhm.
It's not area like buttress some residential where like I could see the only person who would realistically want to put a sign up would be one that it's directly affecting on a day-to-day basis. So if there's no one around it, then why would someone just carve the trail and put it up?
Yeah, it was at a location where a new connection to the Gannett Forest was created a few years ago, but that connection has been closed for 2 years. And it's unlikely to open again in the immediate term. So, I mean, I would imagine that anybody from the Gannett Forest would do it.
No, I don't think
So
so.
maybe it was just. But we can move that. We can move that back.
I asked, I'm sorry, Rob, I asked, Dave to clarify that that actually was on our portion of the land before it changes to Ganaraska. But either way, we should report it to them, just in case dirt bikes or ATVs are planning to use a trail that isn't supposed to be open at all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Well, I'll correspond with them and figure that out. And the last note of Dave's is for signage, we haven't prepared any mock-ups since Rob has been actively putting up new wooden trail signs. Those are sufficient in my opinion, although we'd still be happy to create the new designs for aluminum signage if the community wishes to see those go up as well. So I think that's probably something best discussed when Dave's at the, I think it's particularly pressing, we need to discuss it. So. Okay, any questions on Gary or Dave's report? We need to receive those.
Yes, we don't have to with the other two, I'm good with that, but if we can receive the trail report, please.
Can I please have a motion to accept the trail report from Mr. Dagstino, Mr. Wall, Lance, and seconded by Griffin? All in favor? Motion is carried.
Wallace,
Yes.
Billsley.
Yep.
Brown,
Yes.
Natchoff,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes,
perfect, Jackson,
Yes.
and McDonald.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to section eight, section 8.1, workday follow-up. So, as usual, we had a really good workday. We had in excess of 30 people coming in to volunteer, a lot of younger volunteers, which was great to see. And we also had 2 people from Parks and Rec Department who were very helpful. I think our French is 4 and 4.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they were very, very helpful, very responsible. Unfortunately, we didn't get everything done. We never do. And some of the things that we usually get done are spreading the mulch, especially on Baxter Creek Trail. We did get a lot of that done, but we didn't get all the way up to the willow tree. We got to sort of halfway from the first bridge back. But that was nobody's fault because we actually, there was no mulch to be had. We took whatever we, whatever was up at the lion's den. And in fact, there was a fairly good pile there the morning of, and Chris's team went and got a load and brought it to fourth line, where we spread mulch on both sides of the fourth line at Baxter Creek Trail, which was really helpful. And then I had asked them to go up and get another load and to provide more mulch for the Baxter Creek Trail, but by the time they got up there, and again, they were busy spreading mulch. It was, they were working. The mulch was gone from the lion's den, but that's the way it goes. But I certainly hope, and we could discuss this later during the work plan, Chris, but I certainly hope that bit of ground cover we laid will help a bit the construction, if it's still there, right? But if you think we need more, like if you think it would be a good idea to bring it all the way up to the willow tree, like that's something a few of us could do on a weeknight. because there is more mulch there, and it's always sort of guessing, it is gonna be there how much for how long. But if the contractor is concerned about,
It would be a good idea to help with,
okay,
that's pretty funny. A lot of it.
yeah, and I guess it sort of depends on timing, in terms of whether we could talk about that.
Yeah.
Other things we did, John and his team, did a great job by installing the new fence at Med's Lookout. And I think we've been in correspondence with Stevens Farm and they're quite pleased with that.
Mhm.
And hopefully it's been built in such a way that it's, a little less easy to, kick rails out and have people access, but I think it's very clear now that, whose property is which, and there's a sign that we placed on it saying trespassing down this point, fair to the property, all that sort of stuff. So that was great. We did a bit of boardwalk, as well by the Y connection, at Baxter Creek and Meds, which, we fixed as sort of a perpetual muddy spot. And again, lots of mulch spread at Fourth Line and some good work done at Fourth Line, south of the road as well. And then Griffin had a team of 4, you and 3 others.
Yeah.
And did a great job and spread yards of mulch and built, 16 or 20 feet of new boardwalk.
Yeah, 16 feet.
16 feet of new boardwalk and the connection between McGuire Drive and Baxter Creek Court. And I think it's made a huge difference and has been very well received by people from what I've heard already. It's a great connection, you know, for the kids to ride their bikes to school and stuff. And that area is always very wet. And I think we have solved that. And we'll keep an eye on it. As I said to Griffin, you know, we could always add a few more feet of boardwalk in the future if we need to, but I think we've probably gotten maybe 5% of it lit. And again, as Chris said, we had one of the wettest Aprils on record, right? So it's a little more unusual that it's that wet this time of year, but hopefully things will dry up soon. Marine,
We did O-ring with the karate kids, the karate club, and
Yeah.
both adults and kids did most of the Med and Baxter Creek entrance work, and they were amazing. Those kids have discipline, drive, they're strong. Everyone should take karate. Really good.
yeah, and one of the things they did, it was a fairly simple job, but it's made a real difference, I think, just in terms of aesthetics, is they dug up the existing signs that were tilted from frost teeth and they straightened them again.
Yeah.
It's a lot better.
Yeah.
And then Marine, we sort of ran out of time, but Marine went out a few days later and did the orchid plantings.
Yeah, with the La Chapelle family and Lorraine and Mike came out. They usually are such hard workers at workday and they couldn't attend this year, so they said, you know, when you're going out to do tree planting, please involve us. So we planted 25 river or black birch on Baxter Creek away from the main trail, so they won't be kind of sabotaged by all the construction stuff, along the Lost Loop, because the Lost Loop has a lot of buckthorn that will eventually come down, so we wanted it to be repopulated with birch and other things. And we also did Bev's willow there as well. We still have the red osier to plant. It's still in good shape, but can last a long time. It's very forgiving. And I would like to get some kids corral to help with that. So if I can get hold of the Karate Kids fearless leader, she said there were 6 kids who wanted to be there that weekend who couldn't come, and they were really disappointed. So we could either do that or involve some kids from the school. I'm sure that some of the
Okay,
teachers
do
would.
you have any?
I don't, so I'll
Okay.
need that
Yes,
if
I'll
she agrees. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, great, yeah, and as I said, there are a lot of kids out and I signed a lot of high school volunteer forms, which was great.
Mhm.
Yeah, am I missing anything? You know, I think the trails are in really good shape. We did a bit of garbage cleanup, but there wasn't too much that was needed.
No,
We had a couple of young ladies paint the gate at the end of Stellar Street. Which was nice,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Well, The one job I would have liked to see done in preparation for reopening the trail was to rebury the O-ring that's beyond the T junction. And put mulch up there at some point this summer. It would be nice to get that done. So,
Yeah, I mean, that was on the list. We didn't have enough people at the
No.
time, but that, we're gonna try and coordinate that with the reopening of that entire trail and the
Mhm.
construction of the boardwalk.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, yeah, I mean, theoretically, that trail is still closed,
Mhm.
but there are other people using. Okay, and then I will talk about the pamphlet boxes that we spoke about at our last meeting, and have slowly been sort of working towards getting those built. Again, it would have been nice to have put those up on workday, but it's a fairly large job and we had other things to do. So that's something that I hope we'll just sort of continue to put up in the coming months. Any other questions on workday? Any comments? No? Okay, well, again, I'd like to thank everybody for all of their great help and hard work, and yeah, I think we got very lucky again this year. The weather, it's supposed to be quite rainy, and then as usual, it turned out perfect. And yeah, any other comments about that? Okay, great. We don't need anything to accept the mistake for us. Okay, so 8.2 is around Dave's again earlier question around the Millbrook and the NBT signage on our NBT trails. He had brought some mock-ups to us at our last meeting. But as per his quote there in his email, we could sort of think about what we want to do on that. As he said, I have been putting up some new signs just to sort of help out some of the comments. Like a few of the comments I got were then sort of just directional, like where am I on the trails and where do I get here and things like that. So I tried to mock up the look and feel of the old signs that Bob Spitz had made. I don't think they're as good as Bob's, but you know, it's just another way that we're trying to use up some of the offcuts of the wood. So a lot of times we order wood from Hope Mill. We order 8-foot boards, but they come in sometimes 9.5 feet long, and we have to spray them on. And so I've been using a lot of those offcuts just to, you know, make the most of what we have and spend our money wisely, and have been making signs. So they're at the trailheads basically, and they basically just say, you know, the start of what trail it's on. And there are some directional signs as well, just allowing people to sort of understand where they are when that trail bounds. I put an arrow towards the wood line. Down that little side part of the ponds and things. So I think they're being well received.
Very, even people who never have used the trails appreciate the fact that the rail bed is now marked as a trail. They said, I always wondered what was going on there. And Rob took care to paint the letters to match the trail color on the map.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's really
so
appreciated.
it just matches what's on. You know,
Yeah, yeah. And
Nice.
also you slabbed and repaired the fallen directional pillar that was at the first trout pond. And that looks really nice.
Yeah,
as well.
so yeah, the thing I forgot to mention at the work they follow up. So over the winter, one of the original cedar trail post signs at the ponds rotted and fell over. So I bought a new piece of 6x6 and scabbed the two together, and then I repainted all of the American lettering. And Dave actually did a great job of digging a new hole just beside the rotted, so where the rotted post was, and reinserting that. And so I think that has made a huge difference again in terms of people understanding where they are and where they go when they first enter into the trout ponds, right? So they can go up Cedar Trail, they can go straight ahead to the Grand Trunk Pathway, they can go the other way to Baxter Creek Trail, etc. So yeah. And Dave and Gary also, their job on workday was they added a new 6x6 to rail trail, just above the old bridge, where we have some erosion issues going on. So in previous years, we had put a stack of 3 6x6s, but we're still getting a bit of washout just at the edge of the trail. So they put in a new 6x6 and then brought in new gravel and smoothed it. So we probably almost got the erosion issue licked there. And it's not a huge deal, it's just over time, it could become an issue, right? You don't want it washing down over into the bridge and onto the creek, into the creek. So yeah, so those are just a couple other things that we did.
Oh, and Kirk and Bill Slavin also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's they did some paper on work lines. Sorry, north is north of it, where it was really muddy. So we got a lot of moss right there. Okay, so I suggest we move the MBT signage discussion to next month when Dave's here, because obviously he's sort of in charge of having information. Everybody okay with that? Need a motion for that?
Do we have a motion from this committee to support all third-party signs on
Oh.
Millbrook Valley Trails? Like, have we got that far into
No,
the?
no, it's whether or not we're even, like, it's just a discussion, it's to, we had this idea, and
Okay.
is this a good idea?
Yeah, so I thought you were asking about whether or not you needed the motion or,
Well, I don't think we
Sorry.
should keep moving
I,
forward if we.
I just don't think, I think we need to have a conversation of like how that's gonna affect us and insurance wise, or where those are gonna be located. You know, all of that kind of discussion needs to be had, so I wasn't quite sure whether or not we've talked about all that.
No.
And what that, nothing, absolutely nothing, so it was just a general conversation of,
Hey, is this
An
a good
interest.
idea? And if it is, then we'll go into what steps of discussion.
Okay, no problem.
What the ramifications are.
okay, that's what I think
So
we're
is
Cindy
the
and I.
thought permanent signs or is the thought removable signs? And is it for all people that use the trails for their associations that they can put signs on the trails? Like, what is it looking like from the committee's perspective?
We haven't had that
Probably better.
conversation.
Yeah, better answer that question.
Does the committee have a position on it?
No, I don't think we have enough sort of info. It was just an idea that was floated as part of potential new business at last month's meeting.
So I was very blessed that at the end of our last term, this conversation came up too. So we said at that time, I think that was John, Frizzle and David. And we said at that time, I think it needs to go back to council to look at that direction and the alternative signage. So I just didn't know because I haven't sat here for a minute if it's come back yet. So maybe we'll have Dave bring it back and then we can have a conversation at the MBT.
Okay, yeah, so do we need a motion to put that on next month's agenda?
So I
we just
observed
say-
that the last meeting, you kind of go through what those items are you want to add, so we can just put it back on
Yeah,
there
okay.
if you want to do that.
Okay. Moving on to 8.3, 2024 work plan. Okay. Do we need to go through each one of these, or can we just hit the ones that were in of interest as per my agenda items that I submitted?
My only comment through you, Chair, to yourself and the rest of the committee is how else do we provide the updates on each of these? Like, do we just kind of start and go through them all if there's no update or if there's an update?
Okay, all right, we could do that then.
Yes.
Item number 1. Ongoing.
Correct.
Item number 2, still ongoing. Item 3, we were hoping for an update on this from the township. It's our understanding that there was a meeting last month with a third party.
So Ganaraska?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay, I don't think we're still waiting for Ganaraska to report back to us.
So, okay, last time we spoke as a committee, there was no talk of Ganaraska being involved. So what's Ganaraska's involvement?
They have a GIS mapping system there that could be utilized, and I think that's where Carly and Chris, you jump in. I haven't been privy to that.
Right.
But my understanding is they reached out to have conversations about whether their mapping system, what is their mapping system to report back to you? What does it look like? What can they do? What's involved in it? So I believe that they've reached out. And what it
Okay.
even looks like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So they did reach out and they hope to have information, but they just didn't have it back for today's meeting.
Okay. So can I ask, has the township ruled out trail forks? Or is it still being considered as an alternative?
We haven't ruled out, I think it's still an option. I believe, correct me again if I'm wrong. It was what other options could be done and Ganaraska is the other option.
Okay,
So we're gonna report back to you as a committee and have a discussion about what our findings are, and then we can have a discussion about trail forks and or this mapping system. It's quite extensive. It's very, like, really well done. If they would do it for us.
they would do it for us, okay. And it's accessible via smartphones.
I believe,
It is an
yes,
app.
yeah, it's an
It is.
app. It's an app program. So that's why we thought we'd report back to you and then we can have that conversation about what it would look like.
Okay,
Yeah.
and do you expect to have that for our June meeting or?
Chris?
We're just waiting on
Okay, so hopefully, okay.
it. So we did talk about it last meeting. Some discussion. Trail.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, not to add to Carly, but I believe that's what she's found out. So I think we're just for further conversation with them. Yeah, good, another option anyways.
Sure.
What was the name of the other one?
Okay.
All Trails, right?
All trails.
Mhm.
Okay.
What was
so-
All Trails? Sorry, I missed that one.
It's just another.
It's another app, is it too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
And it's more. Our trail forks is very well known within the mountain biking community, but the most popular app out there is All Trails.
All Trails. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
We can write Trails in here too.
Okay, so I guess we could put ongoing
Ongoing.
for number 3 as well.
Yeah.
John, any update on number 4?
I think the last I heard, we're still waiting for some kind of report back from Ganaraska.
Yep. The agreement, supposedly we're getting an agreement. We have not received it yet. But we are, Carly did mention, were you a part of that too, Chris? Because they're supposed to report back and give us a draft.
So they are working with the other surrounding municipalities as well, so. they're looking at what we're supposed to bring us back. So that see what they agreed upon, see what we're looking to agree upon.
Okay,
And I believe that they would come to the meeting and explain it and present it to us,
yeah, right.
which I think is much better.
And so the idea from the township perspective is that we would pay Ganaraska to administer it.
Minister.
Well,
Trail app.
the trail.
Oh, yeah, I don't know anything about what the
We're
cost
waiting
is
on stuff.
or
Okay.
anything at this time. Two different things. The trail app is the top number 3 and number 4 is the agreement that
Yes.
Ganaraska, sorry, you went back on me. Okay, so the Ganaraska one here is an agreement.
Okay.
Okay,
Number 5, if we just say it's currently on hold. Number 6 is ongoing. Number 7, I think we could just say ongoing again. We don't have Mr. David Stephen here to give us an update. We didn't provide one in his email. It's fine. Number 8. So we had quite a lengthy discussion about this last month. And as you know, we had the prototype mocked up from what's the name? Taylor Recycling. Yeah, thank you. Have they been paid? They've submitted
The invoice instrument, yeah, so it should be good.
Okay, great. So as a committee, we decided that we would attempt to build our own. And I had gathered some quotes and numbers from materials. So I want to make clear that there was a miscommunication. I had talked to Merit Home Hardware about composite lumber that they had for sale. It was on clearance and it was $50 a board, $40 a board, I forget, $40 or $50 a board. And my understanding was that they had told me over the phone that it was, square all around. So it was like a normal piece of lumber, right? So like the table, so flat on all four sides. A lot of times with composite lumber, to save money, they, on the backside of a piece of deck board, they would create two scallops. So they would run two channels. So it would be a scalloped edge that you'd never see, of course, because it would be under a deck. And that's what these, when I actually went to the store and investigated, this lumber was scalloped, so it was not all four straight edges. So because we're gonna use it in such a way where we would see all four sides, it wasn't sort of a viable option for us. So I explained this to them and they said, oh, well, then you could use our fascia board. So the fascia board is square all four sides and was $50 a board. But instead of being 1x6, it was actually 1x12. Because it's fascia board, sort of a normal deck you put it, that's fascia, it's a lot wider. So it actually was a lot cheaper because we were getting a lot more wood for another $10 a board. And all it meant was I had to cut them on a table saw, which is not, has proved to not be a big deal at all. So all that being said, it's actually a bit of better news. So that was more wood for less money. And then we needed 40 plus hinges for the brochure box. And I went to the reuse store on Reedwood, there, Peterborough, across from Lansdowne Place Square. And they're closing because their lease ran out. I explained to the gentleman what we were doing, and he said, help yourself to as many hinges as you can find, so I did. They're not all gonna match, but it doesn't matter because they're all gonna be in separate locations. Anyway, the good news is that, and I ordered the plexiglass from Amazon, which was incredibly cheap compared to what you would pay at Home Depot or any plastics places I talked to in Peterborough. Anyway, so I had mentioned that at our last meeting that I thought we could do each box for about $16.50 as compared to the $95 per box from Taylor's. But it looks like we probably got that down to about $10.30 a box. So I think it's good use of money, and they will look very similar. It's the same color of wood, same brown, composite lumber, which means it will probably outlast all of us. And we'll hold both pamphlets and the dog bags. So again, yeah, those are in my workshop now, and they are being built, but again, it's not huge. Hopefully, I don't think there's a huge rush for them, but I'm just sort of getting to them as I can. And anyway, I thought that was, I think some of you have seen sort of work in progress, but yeah, they look very similar and they're very sturdy and do what we need to do.
You had thought maybe of doing kind of like a factory work bee at some point for the assembly of them? Or-
Yeah, like I'm cutting it in stages, like I had to rip all the boards into
Mhm.
6-inch wide widths, and so I thought that I had to cut them all into bones.
Mhm.
So I've got a lot of pieces, I haven't sort of put a lot of them together yet, but yeah, maybe we could arrange that. You know, it's one of those things that just sort of go out after supper.
Mhm.
A few of them, but yeah, if that interests anybody, I can certainly put a call out to. I think with, you know, over to be 4 or 5 people, we could probably knock out all the boxes in one class or two. And the other sort of side benefit of that is we have, I think we needed 34 boxes total is what I counted. I think the materials we bought, because you have to buy a certain amount, we have enough to do. So we will have extras in place should any go missing or get damaged. So anyway, yeah, I thought that was good. So I guess, Cindy, we can just say ongoing.
And so that will, through you, Chair, that you will have your money within that covers
Oh,
of what you
well,
need, okay.
Well, do we have an upside limit?
Upside
That's
limit,
what it says, yeah.
1,200.
No, no, maybe less. I believe Chris has probably already received the invoice of the composite lumber from Matt. And all I have to do is do the Oh, I didn't, because you don't get an invoice. I've got to print out the invoice from Amazon. Otherwise,
Oh.
I'll do that and get an actual receipt and get the benefit. But that, yeah, so it was, we got 5 sheets for $40 each or $50 each. It's about $300.
Yeah.
With those. And the plexiglass is $70, 130. And the hinges are free with that service. So I didn't come up with.
Well within.
That was, we went high because we sort of didn't know all the, that time. Yeah, fine. Sorry, is that 11 the last one?
At number 9, John.
Number 9.
No, but it's, is there any past 11?
No.
Okay, so while we're talking about money, I would just say that I'll put the order in for the wood from opening that we approved last month. And so I expect it'll probably be ready. So I told them there's no rush, but anyway, so that's good too. And that the price actually went down this year.
Oh, did I?
Good.
Good, yeah.
Okay, number 9. Yes.
So number 9, tree replacement, so. With the trees and the sign, so I was speaking with Orca and I'm actually meeting with. Jesse tomorrow, they just wanna make sure where we're placing them, so it's all good, so it'll just be tomorrow to make sure the signs in the spot they approve and the trees are getting planted where they approve and. Those will be taken care of.
And is that the spray paint on the grass? Is that where they're going?
I put that in, yeah, so that's, I was gonna get locates done there, but, so we're gonna meet tomorrow, make sure those are the spots.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, and
That is
then,
the-
assuming that, goes well, do you already have the trees or?
I've been talking to Johnson's, yeah, they're just waiting.
Okay, so.
And the sign, we've got all brain ready, so it's just a matter of getting the locates.
Whenever you have a chance to do it.
Yeah.
Great, okay, and again, there were sugar measures?
Sugar maple.
Excellent, okay. Any questions on that? No, good. 10.
That's bridge, so as Meredith indicated, we do have the order permit now, we're all ready to go. We're looking at the bridge will be probably early July. If we wanna, might as well talk to 11 or 2 boardwalks, so boardwalks, I was talking to him today and he is looking at early July, but could be earlier.
Okay,
Permit all good, we're approved, yeah, we're just, yeah, it's just a matter of getting work.
any idea on length of time?
The bridge will be just a few days, like within a week, like we're not gonna stay on the weekend, we're gonna have to shut the trail down.
So it'll be during the week and less than a week. Yeah, okay, that's right.
You can send out an email and confirm that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, could we maybe put it on social media too? Like we'll put it on our Facebook, but
Yeah.
you guys put it on Instagram, just to let people know.
Just let them
And we've got-
know.
We'll have to walk.
Yeah, and as I said, we've got those signs too, right? We can put up.
It might be wise to inform the school in case any teachers have anything And-
30 July.
early.
Yeah, July,
Okay.
Yeah, the bridge will be
Missed
early
that
July, the boardwalk could be sooner.
Okay.
But that trail's already closed and signage already up, but I'm assuming that and more.
But we'll put it out on social.
Okay. And sorry.
So boardwalk will be pretty quick too, so he is planning on, bringing it all. On the job and then bringing it.
And they're gonna bring it in ATVs?
Yes, it was. Yes.
So we got a final length for the boardwalk that's going.
It was,
Offhand, it's 131 meters on the, approximately 131 meters on the west side. Approximately 34 meters on the east side.
So on the east side, there's that report that there's a tree there. You want us to take care of that or we do?
I'll get there, Isaac.
No, I'm not. Oh, isn't it by the,
No, it's right up on near the T.
It's pretty much right at the T.
I was right, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
It's a short little pool, it's literally the pool where the hose pipe is
Mhm.
come up. That one,
Oh, it's
Oh, it's right there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
and it's only half blocking off that.
yeah, all right, sorry, I thought it was the. Okay. Okay, any questions around that? No? Okay, yeah, you could. We've got one more meeting, obviously, but if the boardwalk happens before our meeting, you can let us know. So we're all aware and we could take the word as well. Okay. Okay, another question on the work plan, all right, any items for our next meeting? Again, I think we should move. Section 8.2 to our next meeting. Anything, anybody else?
Mhm. Am I recalling correctly that we did get an upset limit for spraying for DSB last meeting? That went through, right? So,
Yes.
yeah,
Is it on the limits?
yeah.
Yeah, we talked to them.
I haven't talked to Sean yet, but I did tell him I'd be doing my walk around this month and so it's out there. There isn't nearly as much DSB as there used to be by one truck.
I think it was prior to last meeting.
I think-
It's not on this, it's not on this one.
That's what I said, I think it's prior to this. last
Oh,
meeting.
okay, I think there's one prior. That's why it isn't on this.
But did we set an upset limit, or we were gonna talk about it at a further meeting, or we knew how much was in there?
I think I remember seeing 1,500 somewhere, but whether that was like that was what we spent last year.
It was 1,500 last year, and that's why we moved it up to 1,700 this year.
Wasn't that what the 1,700 you reported on is for? Haven't spent that yet.
No, we haven't spent any yet.
So I think we're rolling out money for that.
It's contracted services.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Right,
that's-
so that's
That's where
correct.
that's.
Okay.
I guess.
I was just surprised not to see it here when I lead through it, but I think that's probably me. It probably happened some other meeting.
So you think it was the one before, like the March minutes? Maybe it's in March?
Maybe it's in
Yeah.
March. As long as I have some money to.
There is 17.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah. It only emerged in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
But once it started, it really took off with all that rain.
I think we talked in March that we were gonna wait
Mhm.
until stuff started. Didn't see where it was.
So that's for the spraying, right?
Right, that's the spring.
So maybe we could put down.
Okay, but like, yeah, let's add that to the next meeting. DSV's very. More reaching styles.
Work out it's doing well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
You come across garlic mustard? Like, does he spray for it at the same time automatically or just?
We've never addressed garlic mustard. I mean, it's out there, intermittently, but the areas don't get as much sun. So it's sort of self-contained. It's there, but it's not nearly as invasive in our
Your
situation, than it is in our gardens. Yeah, so, no, it's still DSB and where it's really tall, poison ivy, but even that is better by far since Sean started spraying ages ago. Mhm.
Are you saying DSV?
Mhm.
Okay.
Dog strangling blind, yeah,
Have you noticed any wild parsnip?
no, and I do keep an eye open for it. Mhm.
I keep seeing it, but then it's not.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a tricky. one.
Yeah.
I see all the time.
And I keep thinking I'm seeing giant hogweed and it's not giant hogweed. I keep sending the pictures to the invasive species of Ontario. people.
Just in terms of items for next meeting, will the township have an update on butterfly garden? proposal garden?
So
Go
I
ahead.
believe the answer is yes, that meeting, the council meeting of your next meeting date, the delegate will be coming to that council meeting. So providing that all comes into fruition, then yes, they're not making the June 3rd one. So providing she comes to that meeting, then yes, we'll have direction. If she doesn't come to the meeting on the 24th, then we won't have direction till she comes. That's the council.
Oh, okay, that's her. Okay.
Yeah.
And that, but it needs to be approved by council before it comes out.
Well, she needs to come and make a presentation, yes,
Yeah,
my understanding.
yes. But does council need to approve that recommendation?
Oh, I think so. I think, is this
Yeah.
the one that wanted to have like?
The five
multi-
gardens,
five
the
gardens?
Davidson's
Oh,
one,
abs,
yeah.
oh,
So
absolutely.
there's no funding, and so she's seeking 5 locations for the municipality, and it would probably become, if council supports it, it probably wouldn't come to this committee, it would probably be a Parks and Recreation initiative, and it would probably fall under an operation.
And depending
Oh.
upon what the presentation is, to be honest with you, I don't know how, like 5 locations. And that means that we would have to increase our management of looking after all of that. So it might be a report to council of how much that's gonna be involved, like what is the staffing required, what is required?
Right.
Is there, I don't know till
Yeah.
they come and
Yeah.
present. I don't know what
So-
they're
so is she
asking.
looking for funding?
I think she's looking for council to support picking 5 locations within the township. I don't know if she's suggested 5 locations or if she's presenting. We haven't seen the presentation yet.
And I would say, to be fair, this is all broken telephone. I have
Yeah.
never spoke with
Yeah.
Christina myself. This is just all through other emails and different correspondence that we've received.
So we're not 100%
Yeah.
sure what is going to be presented yet.
I have spoken with her, so I was the one on that end of things. So we did discuss a couple of things. So
Oh.
she's gonna be working with Chris and having a meeting. She's going to be talking with Cindy about joining the Sustainable Advisory Committee on that end of things. But I think what she's looking for right now is to try to identify 5 private, which she's already found. She can probably find all 10 being private locations, but she wanted to have public ones so that it would be in more common areas. I made her well aware that we've already done budgeting for this year, so finance and kind of like financial would not be available through the township. Obviously, she would have to come forward with the delegation. She's uncertain of what that entails, so Ms. Page and I will help her with what needs to be, what points she needs to come forward with so that we're not gonna come back with 20 questions that she's gonna, I'll have to come back and answer them later, like.
So in
we can give her-
preparation
we
of
can
the
help prep
delegation,
her
yeah,
So that she's as well
Sure.
versed for everything.
that's fine.
It's just a matter of like us finding, I know that she originally contacted Maureen got in touch with me. I think it's one location somewhere along the trail. It was, thought about when we were doing the landscaping after the splash pad project, that maybe something could go in there because we're already doing landscaping work to finish what happens around that area, that, maybe some of the plants could go in there. Since we have that budgeted, but that's all totally open for discussion on that kind of things. And then it's a matter of a bigger project for next year, so we can identify those. If it is Millbrook Valley Trails, it may only be one location on the trails. And then elsewhere throughout the township, so that it's not only just a Millbrook thing, it's a cabin wine thing. So maybe we park, maybe we could put it at one location at both of the libraries, since the staff's already doing some library stuff. And then I know that she could have a volunteer group of people that it doesn't have to be a financial burden on Chris's department. They can maybe take over responsibility for water maintenance and whatever it needs to be.
So I think we need to have a conversation before we go too far down on
Yeah.
either locations or what's required, so
Okay.
we should have a meeting with her and
Yeah.
find out about the project, what's involved, what's the expectation before we go down too far. Okay.
Perfect.
And I had a back and forth email conversation with Cindy about this and promised some pictures of the willow garden that is by Baxter Creek, which I sent you, all of you, just as the meeting was beginning today. So have a look at that. That was a garden that was installed privately by a number of friends and co-workers of a art agent who used to live in Millbrook and who died tragically in a car crash on Highway 7A near Bethany. And so it was called the Loretta Pompilio Memorial Garden, and it was planted with perennials. But it has fallen into disarray. I mean, it just got taken over by goutweed. And so that area needs to be remediated anyway. That goutweed could easily invade the understory of Med Trail Forest. It's 2 feet away from Med Trail Forest, so it'd be nice to get rid of it. And there's a weedy tree, which I think is a Manitoba maple, co-growing with the willow, and that Manitoba maple should probably be taken down as a hazard tree anyway. It's not breaking up at all anymore as yet, but they traditionally do become hazard trees.
Are we
And that
on
would open
meds?
that the light.
Sorry, are we on meds?
We're on Med,
Okay.
at the Mill Pond.
I'm just trying to,
Yeah, okay, so as you're standing, you're standing at the Distillery Street gate,
Yeah.
looking south.
and I know where the
across
willow tree is, so.
The
yeah,
willow tree,
okay.
so it's right under, and you'll see the pictures, so
Okay.
there's a bench there, and it's right where the garbage can is at the Baxter Creek Trailhead. And it's a favorite sitting spot for folks, so it's just getting really kind of messy, icky, so that would be, a possibility. A possibility is a place that's already needing help anyway. And I've already informally informed the folks who initially installed it, and they don't have a better idea for the situation. And they don't seem to mind the idea of a David Suzuki Foundation funded or,
Yeah,
promoted
that
garden.
discussion will go at us,
Yeah.
and then they can come and make a presentation.
Yeah, makes sense
Maybe
to me.
Lance wants to be involved in.
Yeah,
discussion
I
or something.
think it's a good, we can find that kind of bring
Yeah.
ecotourism as well, benefit for
Mhm.
crossovers between
Mhm.
everyone who uses the trails. They get put a fall, doing a little more research, so.
Okay, any other items to add for next meeting? Okay, it is June 24th. And Lance and Marie did the travel report.
Mhm.
Excellent. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Second.
Let's do that. All in favor? Motion carried.
Last recorded vote, Tilsley.
Yep.
Brown,
Yes.
Natchez,
Yes.
Carter. Meredith.
Yes.
Perfect. Jackson.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
And Paulus.
Yes.
Great, thank you, everyone.